Welcome to another episode of Conscious Business Connections, brought to you by the New York City chapter of Conscious Capitalism. My name is Bob Caporale, and I'm joined today by April Harris of Keeping You Sweet, located in Hawthorne, New Jersey. April, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you. So April, as you know, what we focus on in this show is highlighting companies who are practicing conscious business practices. So as part of conscious capitalism, we believe that capitalism could be a good thing if companies actually practice it in a conscious way. And there's several
Right.
ways to do that, from culture to leadership to stakeholders to just
hmm
having a higher purpose. So what we want to do is focus on some of those things, at least one of those things here today,
Okay.
and other people hopefully can learn from that, maybe be inspired by that.
hmm hmm hmm
So I'm going to start off by letting you tell our viewers a little bit about Keeping You Sweet. What does the business do? And just tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. So Keeping You Sweet is an all-natural and always gluten-free baked goods company. We specialize in desserts with a healthy twist.
Mm.
We really look to have our customer customize their sweetener because we find that one of the biggest things that causes health problems in our country, in our world, is refined sugar. So on our website, we offer our consumer the option to select their sweetener, either organic cane sugar, which, is for people who like sugar,
Yeah.
and then organic maple syrup as an alternative sweetener, and then monk fruit as a zero glycemic sweetener for anyone who can't have sugar at all. If someone has diabetes or lupus or any type of autoimmune disease. We also sell our cheesecakes and brownies to Whole Foods in the Northeast region, which is New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Yeah.
And they are gluten-free with no added refined sugar as well.
Wow.
uh, Keeping You Sweet really started as a way for me to find peace after my mom passed away. I'm not a baker. I was not in the food business. My background is in entertainment.
Mm.
But when my mom passed away, I couldn't do anything except look at her handwriting in her recipe books. Could look at pictures, could look at video. The only thing that I could look at all day long was those recipes. And I just started baking, 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 baking. And I decided once I started baking, because it was so much, that I would donate to charities or fundraisers. And at one particular fundraiser, it was such a big demand for the sweet potato cheesecake with no added refined sugar that was gluten free.
Oh my
People,
God.
I was like I gotta have this cake. I made like 450 mini cakes for an organization called Link, which was raising funds for Link charter schools in Newark, New Jersey. So
Yeah.
this event was at NJ Pack. It was like 1,500 people there, and I asked a friend of mine who was in the food business, where I could put the cakes, because people were asking me. I wasn't set up as a business. I was just, it was something for me to do, and I loved it. And he said, "Oh, you should put that in Whole Foods." And I said, "Whole Foods? How's that gonna happen?" So he said, "Oh, I have a direct contact for the bakery." I said, "You do?" So I reached out to them, and I was like, not in a million years I think they were going to respond to me. And they
And
responded.
they did.
Yeah. They were like, "We're looking for more gluten-free things. Can you submit some flavors to our bakery?" I was like, "What?" So I
That is
submitted
incredible.
to the regional bakery. And when I tell you this all happened in like a 3-month span, it was like November of 2016 was the event. I submitted to them in December. And by March of 2017, I was in a Whole Foods, like one Whole Foods store.
Oh
And
my
I
God.
couldn't believe it. And then after that, they kept adding stores and stores and stores. I was like, what
That
is this? So
is
now I
incredible.
have this growing business, and now we offer a vegan version of the cheesecake now. So, and it's just growing, and it's
It's
just
so
amazing.
it's so cool. Now I have to go back because there's
Okay.
so much there, right? It's incredible, and I do have to admit a little so obviously we researched people and so forth, and on your website it talks about your background in the entertainment industry and the group that you were with.
hmm
So I told my wife about the group. She started singing your song, like
Oh,
because we're children of the '80s and the early '90s. She
yeah. Oh, that's
knew
cute.
right away, and I was like, "Well, I'm interviewing her." She's like, "You're kidding me!" So you're still
Oh, get
famous.
out
Yeah,
of
I'm not. I
here.
swear, I'm
That's
not kidding.
cute.
Isn't that nice?
That is
but
so cute.
but that's incredible, like that you are able to go from that, which is a completely different industry, right?
Totally different. Yeah.
Into this. Now you say, to try and give you something to remember your mother by and things of this nature. Was she into sugar-free kind of healthy alternatives, or
No, no, not
how
at
did that
all.
come
So my
about?
mom, she was a caterer and she was amazing baker, amazing cook. So she had her own catering business. And my mom was more like, she would say, look, as long as it got love in it, you don't need to put nothing else. And she used to call me
Wow.
organique. She said, now you want to be organique and put all these fancy, she said, we don't need all that.
Organic.
Yeah,
That
she
is
was like, oh,
awesome.
she's like, she would introduce, this is my daughter, she's organique. So
That's
and
awesome.
I've always since I graduated from Howard, and when I attended Howard, I met so many people, mostly from Brooklyn,
Yeah.
who were like these interesting folk who drank green drinks, and I didn't know anything about that. So I found it fascinating, and I just became this like guru overnight of all things healthy, herbs, and just a cleaner lifestyle than I had been used to.
Yeah.
And my mom, she was totally opposed. I said,
Stop.
she was
Just
like, "Are you
stop.
out of your mind? You walk around here eating grass? Are you crazy?"
I have to admit, I think I get along. I would have gotten along great with your mom, because that's kind of like the way I. But I think it's really cool. What's interesting is like how you adopted this purpose. Was there anything in your own life or friends or things like that that said, "Yeah, I really want to kind of go towards this more healthy alternative," or just something you became interested in? How did that come about?
Well, so the truth of it is that when, like I said, I got into Howard, and one of my friends was really into it, and I had the flu, and I had it for about 4 weeks, and I couldn't get rid of it. In the flu, if you go to the doctor, they send you home. They got to run this course, and nothing we could do. And
Yeah.
I was really, really sick, and I couldn't get well. And he said, "Well, this is what you need to do." And we had tried everything. Me and my mom, my mom was taking care of me. And when we did what he said, like the next day I was able to stand, because I was like in the bed, not able to get up. My mom would have
Really?
to bathe me. I was like really
Oh,
sick. I thought I
wow.
was
Wow.
gonna die,
That's amazing.
because I was so sick and so weak. And he was basically like, you got to clean out your intestines, and this is what you clean it out with. And then he was like, and you got to take these herbs, and you got to take this, and you got to drink that, and you got to do this. And I did everything that he said because I had no other choice. And at that time, I wasn't really into it. I just
Yeah.
thought it was like, you guys are crazy. I used to eat chessman cookies for breakfast. Pepperidge Farm chessman cookies. I
Oh
used to eat
yeah, I
those for
know 'em.
breakfast. Yeah. So I was like, "Well, I'll eat whatever." So I followed everything that he said, and the next day I felt like myself again. And I just
Really?
just followed everything that he told me to do. And he wasn't like certified or anything. He just had lived that lifestyle. And I was well in like a couple of days. And from that point on, I just was all about, alternative, healthy, homeopathic,
Wow.
and clean, anything all natural, organic. I didn't even know what organic was prior to that, but
Yeah.
now it's just my lifestyle. I pursue it,
That is
so.
so cool.
So
Now,
my mom's recipe actually was a sweet potato pie recipe, and I remixed it into a clean, gluten-free, um alternate, natural sweetener instead of sugar cheesecake. So
yeah,
that's how
so
that came
so
about.
so here I'm gonna say. So you said in the beginning, I'm not a baker. Let me tell you something. That sounds like a baker to me, because
Yeah,
I know I
well,
couldn't do that.
it's also creative too, right? So if you're a
Yeah.
creative person, baking is like, it's like an art form in a way,
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
think, because to me, when I think of different flavors, um I don't think like it's something that I can't do. So it has to be something that's there innately too,
Yeah.
because a lot
Yeah.
of people can't bake. People tell me all the time, I can't bake nothing, so.
Right. I'm telling. There's got to be something in the blood, right? That probably
Yeah, and
you're
I
more
did.
of a
I
baker
watched
than
my
you think.
mom. I watched her do it all of my life,
Yeah.
so watching her, and then we were always in the kitchen together, so I guess I picked it up by the way, but I wasn't ever pursuing it until after she passed.
Until after she passed. So now
Mhm.
I'm also interested, because you talked about that you didn't pursue it with the intention of getting into Whole Foods or anything like that, or making a business of
Not in
it.
a million years.
Yeah, so
No.
like you were doing it for charity, which is
I was doing it
another.
for peace,
Just
honestly, because
it's incredible.
I was in love with my mom. Like when she
Oh,
passed, I died too. Everything that I
mm,
wanted to do or thought about, or any plans I had, any dreams, everything just left me because she was
really?
everything to me. Yeah.
Oh,
And
I'm
so when I
sorry.
tell you when I only peace I could find, like I believe in God. So I was focused on that and that helped me a lot. And then, just her recipe. And I really think it was like God's way of just giving me a different pivoting my life and put me in a different direction, and then gave me and blessed me with Whole Foods because I did not pursue it. I wasn't looking for it. It wasn't part of my plan. So it has to be someone else's plan. Wasn't mine.
Interesting. And when you started this, so it sounds like you just kept baking and baking and baking, and had more goods than you knew what to do with. So said, let's do it for charity and keep that going. Now, when you were doing that, was it also the healthy version, or was this kind of
Always, always, always.
always that?
Yeah. If I would look at my mom's recipe and I'm like, okay, well, this tasted. I grew up on it. It tasted really good, but we gotta take that sugar out. We gotta take
Right.
that gluten out. We gotta make it. And that was my goal too, to see if I could turn her recipes, which I loved and grew up on, and everyone loved, into a healthier version. And then with that, get people to eat healthier without them even knowing it. So a lot of times, even with my family, because when I first told them that I was, they don't even buy my product because they're like, we ain't into gluten-free. We don't eat, you know what they say? We're not into healthy. When
Yeah.
you make something that'll kill us, then we'll eat it. We don't want nothing healthy. So,
Why are we like that? I'm the same way. I'm like, that can't be good. It's
it can't be good. So now I don't even tell them. So I'm a part of the CEO circle right now with one of the executives from Facebook, and he said, April, he said, this is your new slogan. If I didn't tell you it was healthy, you wouldn't even know. I said, that's it. So that's
that
what
is
I'm
so
running
cool.
with. So, and it's true because my family of the holidays, I usually do Christmas, and my mom was the oldest of 18 kids.
Yeah.
So we have a huge family, and when they come, I don't tell them nothing. I just let them
Just
eat. They be like,
sneak it
"Oh,
in.
this banana pudding cheesecake is good." I'm like, "Yeah," and in my mind, I be like, "And it's gluten free too."
And yeah,
They
monk
don't
fruit.
know.
Anyway,
Then they got monk fruit. If
whatever
I
that
told
is.
them monk fruit, they would laugh me out the house. Are you kidding
Monk
me?
fruit.
Monk fruit. Ooh, organique. So they call me organique too.
Oh, it's so fun. Now, you know what I also think is cool is that, when you talk about giving stuff to charity, I don't know if do you still do that, by the way? Do you still do baking for
I
charity?
do. I do.
And I think
Uh-huh.
that's so neat because the ingredients that you're talking about are not the cheapest ingredients that you could
Oh, they're
use,
not.
right?
No,
And a
no.
lot of times when people do things for charity, I mean, I guess there's all different kinds, but a lot of people, they're not thinking about using the most expensive stuff. So, I mean, has that been part of your purpose too, is to try and spread this, this healthy kind of food and healthy living to as many people as possible?
Sure. And, even before doing that event that led me to Whole Foods, I would do a farmer's market in Newark also. But what I didn't like about the farmer's market was that they would in the park, Washington Park, it was where the homeless people lived.
Yeah.
And so when they would do the farmers market, they would move them out so that we could be there,
Oh my.
but they would still be like around us. And so the funniest thing is at the end of the farmers market, I will always say, look, I want to give this to the people that are staying here. So they
Yeah.
would come and they were like, thank you, man. This is so good. So then I told them, I said, look, come at the top. And whatever you guys want, just tell me and I'll give it to you, before I sell it. Because I wasn't making no money anyway. So it wasn't
Yeah.
about the money. So they would come early and then we would just sit around and talk. And they'd be like, the people that were organizing it was like, uh, this is not for the homeless. This is like
Got the
people
wrong
want to
charity.
come. Yeah, they were like, people want to come here and they feel comfortable when they see a homeless person. I was like, but this is their place. Like, what are
Isn't
you?
that something?
I thought
Yeah.
it was the craziest thing. So I
You're
would
kind
just
of,
bake for them. I would ask, I have my special ones, and they'd be like, I used to make sweet potato tea cake, and they really thought that was something. And in fact, they would tell the people in the offices around town, look, you got to go to this lady. She make these sweet potato tea cakes, and you got to have. So they were like, oh, I'm the homeless. Yeah. Oh, I didn't want to say homeless. The person told me that you make these cakes.
they're
So it
part of
was
your
it's funny.
it's
The whole
part of
story
your
is hilarious.
PR, right? I mean, but isn't that's so? I have to tell you, it is funny, but it is also really it's very cool because here you are, like, not thinking about that. Like, you know, it just seems weird that the organizers would say, oh, we got to make sure homeless people aren't here. And you're like, but
Yeah,
it's kind of their home in a way, right? So like we're displacing them, and you're not thinking about that.
right.
And as it turns out, it ends up becoming some form of advertising for you because they're
Right.
spreading the word, which is, I think, just awesome. So now I want to make sure that I get to this whole food journey too, because I know this is a little bit newer, right? You're just kind of embarking on this. How has
Mhm.
that been? I mean, you know, because of course the founder of Whole Foods is the founder of the movement and the association
Right.
Conscious Capitalism, which is interesting. But
Yeah.
how has it been working through that process?
Well, it was a huge learning curve for me because I had no idea how to be in a supermarket. You know, I
Yeah.
just, and so when they said, yeah, well, we really like your product and we want to bring you in, I had to hire food scientists to get my nutritional panels together, figure out containers, figure out how I was going to get it there because I was
Mm,
okay, I can't drive it there. I have to have a refrigerated truck. And so it was really, I learned at Whole Foods, and most of my friends now, I associate with a lot of people who are in the food businesses, in the industry, and they say, April, you don't start at Whole Foods. He said that's Whole Foods is like the holy grail. They're like,
really?
that's when
Wow.
you end up, like you start in, like, other, a lower, not lower, but like a different
Local
chain,
supermarket or something.
a
Yeah, right.
local supermarket, but you don't start at Whole Foods. So they feel like my trajectory is going to be something amazing. So they're watching it more than I'm watching it.
That's
I'm like,
awesome. I'm watching it too. Well, but one thing I think is cool about Whole Foods is that I think they do make it, you're right. It is kind of the holy grail for many, but I think they also do make it a little easier because they keep that local connection, right?
right, right.
And it seems like that's what they've done with you as well. Like you're in the
Hmm.
tri-state area for the most part,
Right,
right?
right. So I came in as a local supplier, and honestly, they just wanted me for one store. But the other stores was hearing about how fast the product was selling, so they were like, well, what about our store? We need something like that. So now they, like I said, they're going to move me throughout the region. So I started one store, I'm going to end up with in 50 stores.
Wow.
And I also have a meeting, an upcoming engagement with a even bigger big box store.
That is so cool.
So it's turning into this thing that I had no idea. It was not my plan.
Well, but I have to say, this is why I love your story so much, because we talk about conscious capitalism a lot. Is that, you know, there should be a purpose beyond profit, is what, you know, the saying is, right? And the
Right.
idea is that if you just start a business just for the purpose of making money, you might be able to do it, but are you doing any good for the world? Everything else. Well, if you do it the other way and say, I'm starting with a purpose, there's a real chance that that can turn into something that you get rewarded for, that you're making money for, right? And
Right.
I'm guessing you didn't start off making money, but it sounds like you're on your way, right? If not making
Right.
now.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that I didn't make money. It's just that I didn't know what I was doing. So
Right.
I made a lot of mistakes. But the great thing is that I had so many people come in to mentor me and give me good information. And they're major. Like I had David Zilko. Do you know David Zilko? He
No.
he built a company. Okay, so I add one more thing. I used to work for a short time as a agent for a speakers bureau.
Oh,
So I
cool.
booked him on his first speaking engagement, but he had a salsa and chip, corn chip company that went bankrupt 3 times.
Mm,
He wrote a book called Irrational Persistence. And he ended up selling his company for $210 million to Campbell. And so he's my mentor now.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then there's Denise Woodard from Partake Food. She has a vegan cookie line. And Jay-Z just invested $1 million into her company. And she's been really a great mentor to me because I couldn't find, now I need to look into getting a co-packer and distributor. And she's already been through, all of that. So she gives me great information, what pitfall, what to watch for, who to,
Yeah.
not, oh, silently, no, don't go with that distributor,
Right, right, right.
um and a lot of both of them said the same thing: hold out for as long as you can, because that's when you start losing money, when you go with the distributor. So that's been interesting too. Like I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
these
So
people,
just
like they're my mentors. It's amazing.
surrounding yourself with the right types of people. Now,
Right.
here's the other question I want to ask you about the future, right? And I know it's going to be hard to predict, but it seems like
Hmm.
you have some really strong values, particularly on healthy foods and things like that. You have a higher purpose. how do you maintain that as you grow, right? Because I'm sure you're watching out for that. Like you get into bigger boxes and even bigger boxes, and now they start telling you what you need to produce or not. I mean, any thoughts on that? Have you run into any of that yet? Or
Well, what I don't want to do is go to a co-packer. So I haven't been successful in finding one. So I am going to be raising money to build my own manufacturing
mm,
company. And I want to hire people in inner cities. So that's one of the things, and teach
very
them a
cool.
trade. So that's what I want to do. And I see it in more than one city, more than one urban city. And I also see retail outlets for people to come, because there's no really any place for someone to go and get alternative sweeteners that are all natural.
That's true.
Like even so, I want to be the spot. You know how and I don't know if I should give out I don't know if I should be talking about this, because
No, no, no. Don't. If you don't think you should, then
okay,
don't.
I'm not gonna talk about it because it's such a great idea. And when I tell people that I can trust, they're like, "Girl, don't tell nobody that
No, don't do
idea."
that. Why don't we
Okay,
do
okay,
this?
okay,
We'll
okay.
wait till you do it, and then you'll come back.
Okay. So I do see some retails. I see a brick and mortar chain.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
That's awesome. So in other words, what you're saying is like kind of controlling. Don't let other people tell you what you need to do. Don't let it dilute what the purpose is. If you need to raise money or do it yourself, you do it yourself. But you want to stay true to your purpose, is what I'm
And
hearing.
I do want to still seek local suppliers for my ingredients. Farmers I prefer, and women,
Yeah.
because we're in the food business, our numbers are so low,
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, women are not producing in manufacturing
Yeah.
food, you
Now, do you
know.
think that's because they're not being given the chance, or there's not a high interest level? What do you think is the cause of that?
It's a really hard business. Like if
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have chosen it. It's
I wouldn't.
like I'm on right now, over the whole weekend, I'm probably on about 4.5 hours of sleep.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's labor intensive.
Yeah.
I still, if someone doesn't come in to bake, I still go in and bake,
Yeah.
so
Right.
it's labor intensive, it's not glamorous, so I don't know if people,
Will
and
shy
maybe
away
I don't
or
know if they're into it for that or whatever. I don't know why the numbers are low, honestly.
yeah.
I'll just say that, but the numbers are really low. And for African Americans, it's like less than 1%
Yeah.
food manufacturers and producers. So I want to bring awareness too to the next generation. Like, look, this is good. We need to make food. Food is essential.
Good food, right? And I
Good
think that's
food,
the
clean,
key,
yeah.
right? Good, clean food,
Good
which I
food,
think
yeah.
is underrepresented all around, right? So if you can
Sure.
provide opportunities for people that aren't getting the opportunities or aren't interested or whatever it is, that's pretty cool, right? That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. And I want to do that too. Definitely bring more awareness, whether it be going to schools, having cooking classes for girls, or, in environment in communities where they don't receive that kind of information. I want to just provide it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I love it. I mean, and this is just a great example of purpose. And now you're talking about stakeholders. I mean, you are what I would definitely define as a conscious business. And again, what I love about it is able to make money because you're doing the right things,
Mm-hmm,
and you'll
mm-hmm.
continue to do the right things. So, which I think is just so incredibly cool. Well, April, I can talk to you all day long. I'll tell you what, but I'm gonna have the opportunity to do it again when this big new idea hits. So whatever that is, I'm gonna be watching for it. But in the meantime, I want to watch for your sweet potato cheesecake. That's right, right? Now, I'm in Connecticut right now. It's going to come to me soon, or do
It's
I have
gonna
to go
come to
somewhere?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're saying now because of COVID. So before COVID, I was supposed to go into the region in April, and then everything was placed on hold. So it's looking at like top of the year.
Okay.
But
All
I'll
right.
send you, yeah. I'll send you some sweet potato cheesecake.
Oh no, you don't have to worry about that. I'd rather buy it from you in
Oh
and
no, okay,
but
whatever. But
but
if you can't, yeah, I'll send it to you because I,
but you know what? If it goes too long, then I'm going to take you up on the offer.
okay.
Because I've heard about this from when we first started talking, and I'm getting hungry, to be honest. So I'm hankering for some monk fruit.
And I love monk fruit because it mimics sugar so well. It's
Does
so
it?
good. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's zero glycemic, so it's so harmless,
Well,
for
I
your
got to
body.
tell you, on and my slice, you're gonna have to tell me there's no monk fruit in it, just for my own mental. You just let me think it's sugar, and I'll be
Okay.
fine.
But we do. I mean, it's your choice. That's why we say it's your choice. You can do it with sugar if you want. But it's
Yeah.
organic. We're not doing any regular sugar.
All
We're
right.
doing
Well, I'll feel like I'm halfway there then.
organic.
Well, April, I know that there's going to be a lot of people that want to learn more about your company and your history and so forth. Where can they find out information about your business?
Oh, they could go to keepingyouSweet.com. Yeah. Or
keepingyouSweet.com.
everything is Keeping You Sweet. At Keeping You Sweet on Instagram, Keeping You Sweet on Facebook. LinkedIn is, I don't have one yet for LinkedIn, but the April V. Harris on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Awesome. Well, it is such a great honor to hear your story. I love it. I hope we stay in touch because I know you're going to do even
Oh, we
greater things.
will.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Because when this is all over, you guys have great conferences. So I want to attend the conference or
Yeah,
something, be on the panel. I would love to be on the panel.
you will be. Well, here I am promising for the board. I have to get board approval. But I will do my best. Believe me, I think it's been a great conversation. So thank you so much for joining. And I want to make sure also for everybody out there, thank you for joining. And I also want to thank the sponsors of our chapter, who I hope will be growing in numbers. But right now, our sponsors, the Core Club and the Tomiak Foundation, thank you for your support because you make programs like this possible. So for everyone out there, thank you again for joining. Please join us in another episode. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe, tell your friends, spread the word, and help us spread the word of conscious capitalism, which we think is really an important thing. And April, again, thank you so much.
Thank you
Best
for
of
having
luck
me.
on
This has been
everything.
fun.
Yeah, it's been great. And I'm sure we will talk again soon.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. And thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.